Hey guys, I'm just going to be breaking down my league start, which is a Voltaxic Burst Inquisitor. Just going to be going over kind of the basic concepts of it and going over the path of building a little bit and talking about some things. So this is the playstyle right here. Using Fanaticism with the Inquisitor means that we basically attack every so often, and that gives us stacks of Fanaticism. If you can get to, it used to be 4 stacks, now you only get to 3, you get 5 seconds of Fanaticism. So basically you have to only attack once every roughly 1.5 seconds. It used to have to be every 1 second. So we're getting about a 50% quality of life buff here with Fanaticism, which is really nice. So what you're seeing in this video is the old version, which felt a little bit clunky because you had to be attacking once every second. That 0.5 seconds is going to make a huge difference, believe me. It's going to take a lot of the clunkiness out of the build that I had previously, but the insane casts per second that we're going to get from Fanaticism and the reduced mana costs are well worth it, especially considering also the AoE increase. The AoE increase is really big because of the explosions. Your ability to clear the speed or clear your entire screen is going to be really high. It's going to be even stronger after the buff. I'm using concentrated effect right now, so that's why the AoE doesn't look too insane, but it is, if you don't use that for really clear speed, it's going to be really big. You could even go increase the AoE if you really wanted that, just like big screen explosion. We're also going to get more increased area on our weapon than we had previously, so really nice quality of life buffs, as well as just some really juicy damage buffs that we're getting in this patch. But this build is a true league start. I'm just going to say that. Like, this is not intended to be something that you scale super hard, spend a ton of investment into. You know, our weapon costs 1 chaos. The most expensive item we're going to have is probably our Timeless Jewel, which we could probably get for, you know, less than a Divine or something like that. And then Ravenous Passion is going to cost us, you know, somewhere around like 50 chaos or so. I don't know what the exact prices are, but it's not exactly an expensive item, not a chase item. But as you can see, this is kind of the playstyle. Like, it's this example I'm showing you right now was a very budget character. This character didn't even have like an anoint on the necklace. This was not min-maxed even remotely. This was just like a really true budget. Like, this is just rolled into tier 16 maps and was able to do it with ease. Like, we do have a really good amount of tankiness. We have a good amount of damage. It's just you know, a pretty great league start in my opinion. That's only going to get significantly stronger. This early version that we're going to do, so when we first basically start getting into red maps, we're doing a full, well, not necessarily 100%, but a lot of chaos conversion. So we're converting most of our damage into chaos. We will eventually be moving away from that to do more of a split damage type with an Holy Trinity, but to start, it's just really easy to do all chaos damage and really lead into Wither. That's going to be a great way for us to just scale that damage early without needing too much investment into, you know, worrying about our damage types and things like that for Unholy Trinity, but we will eventually move over there once we've basically crafted a new weapon. But as you can see, this is easily handling a tier 16 map relatively quickly. It's not the fastest build, but it is not a slow build by any means, and you know, it handles most things extremely well. Sure, this isn't exactly killing a tier 16 map ups quickly, but like I said, this is a very budget character. So let's look at the path of building really quick. Let me jump over to the chaos version. So this is the one that we're going to be starting with to start. One of the most important things for this build is Corrupted Soul. So we need a Timeless Jewel. I like it in this slot right here, this jewel slot, because of the fact that we don't really need a lot of these nodes, and with the Glorious Vanity, it's very unpredictable, so we lose the nodes that we would normally get. So a lot of these nodes become something totally different, and some of them can be really good. Like, for instance, this is one of the best ones, chaos damage and wither, chance to wither on hit. We're leaning pretty heavily into wither with this build, so chance to wither on hit is actually really big. And some of these other ones like spell damage and crit chance, this one's really good too. Max life and regen can be really big. There's a lot of good options for this jewel in this slot for different ones, and you can kind of take a look at it. There's a ton of really nice ones. This one's really good too, Might of the Vol, for the crit multiplier, because we're getting insane crit chance on this build. We should easily be hitting 100%, which means that crit multiplier becomes incredibly strong. So I'll be doing follow-up videos where I basically break down what jewels I'm looking at and things like that, but I know I have a lot of points in here. There's a lot up in the air for me, mainly just because of mana cost. I really don't know what to expect from mana with this build, and it's probably my biggest question mark. So I'm going to be trying to figure that out and trying to figure out how much I need to worry about mana cost. Right now, I'm considering a lot of different points, considering leaning into Arcane Surge quite a bit, and Unholy Trinity's on here, so let me just turn that off so we can see a little bit better of an example. But this is the super budget character. We're looking at about 10 million DPS on a Pinnacle boss right now, and that is considering basically, you know, nothing unrealistic by any stretch. Like, this is a very, very realistic, extremely budget 10 million boss DPS. Right now we're using Foulborn Blue Nightmare to convert a lot of our lightning into chaos. I actually might not use these tattoos because I might want to leave some chaos or lightning into chaos. Right now we're converting a lot, and I might want to convert a little bit less just for shocks. Even though we're doing wither and things like that to really scale our chaos, it might be better to just not worry about that as much. But really, this is pretty straightforward. As many defenses on the tree as we can, because I'm not super worried about our damage, as this is mainly just meant to really easily cruise through red maps. When we really worry about scaling, we'll consider some different things. But eventually what we're going to want to do is craft a weapon. Breath of the Council is super good in a lot of ways, but eventually we're going to want to move on to more of like a crafted weapon. Now, this is obviously an extreme example, but this example is like what we're going to be looking for. A ton of flat physical, a ton of flat lightning damage, and then cast speed and crit stats. Those are going to be really what we're looking for, with some variance, obviously. You might not even need the crit chance, because with 10% base crit, we're going to be able to scale our crit really, really easily. And then a shield with just basically spell damage, crit chance, you know, basically that's about it. In terms of the rest of the gear, just standard, we're going to be getting as much energy shield and armor on as we can, and a necklace. I mean, this gear is not optimized at all. Just cast speed, crit multiplier is probably our best, and then some spell damage is great. But yeah, we're gonna really experiment with some things as we get closer to it. But once we can craft that item, we're gonna move on to what I would say is basically like more of the target that we're looking for, which is going to use Unholy Trinity. And Unholy Trinity means that we need to be able to have basically enough lightning damage and chaos damage to be having max hits over each other, so that we're scaling Unholy Trinity, which is why we need to have our max lightning damage significantly higher than our min chaos damage, so that we regularly are doing max hit lightning, max hit chaos. You could also supplement that in some interesting ways of physical, but I wouldn't recommend that, as we're going to have a good amount of elemental damage on the tree and things like that. So this, I haven't really spent much time on this path of building. In all honesty, as you can see, the damage numbers just aren't there yet, and that's because I haven't really spent much time on this one. But it's mainly just to kind of show you kind of what we're looking to do with the tree. At least this is kind of more we're scaling off of chaos, and we're now trying to scale multiple damage types and things like that. Last thing I'll say is basically my plan B / my late game option is probably going to be using Bloodline to use Unleash with Oshabi's Bloodline Ascendancy. That I really see as a strong way of potentially not really worrying about mana costs as much, not needing to rely on Fanaticism. Fanaticism is great for mapping, but it kind of feels really bad for bosses. So if we want to take this to Ubers, we're probably going to want to use Oshabi, and then put right here, Nova Mark. We're probably going to want to put this point in only when we're fighting bosses. This is a horrible point for mapping, so you're going to have to basically just use a regret every time you're going to switch from doing Uber bosses to to doing mapping. But that's only if you're really looking to do Uber bosses. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Shows you the playstyle. We'll maybe go over one more, just a quick example here of going through some content. And again, this is basically just like a super budget version, and this is the weak version that is getting heavily buffed. I'm expecting about 50%, at least 50% more damage, not even considering the optimizations I'm going to be making to the build. So I'm expecting probably about 3 to 4 times more damage than what I had on this character with the character of this league. And as you can see, this didn't struggle with maps whatsoever. This was a very, very smooth red mapper, handled things extremely well, and we'll see how far this build can take us. Thanks, guys. Like I said, I will be planning on making a follow-up video, at least one, to kind of show my progress, and then probably just continue to go with it and showcase how far this build can go and give updates. Like, maybe this just doesn't feel like it's worth it, and I'll share that, but I think it will feel good. Like, this is going to be my third time running a Voltaxic Burst Inquisitor, and I haven't regretted it in the past, and this is only going to be much stronger this time. So, thanks everybody.